For great ideas and practical tools you can start using tomorrow to grow your business and separate you from the competition, you've come to the right place. If you're into B2B marketing and sales, then welcome to the one and only B2B Marketing and Sales Podcast. With over 60 and counting total years in the trenches of businesses small and large, they have a plethora of knowledge and experience that generate you more leads, capture more clients, ring up more sales. Well, doggone it, just make you more money. How about that? Always thought-provoking, yet dubiously entertaining. Please welcome to their respective microphones across 3 time zones, your co-ringmasters, the Dave Loomis, and not the rock star, Steve Miller.
Hey everybody! Welcome back! Welcome back to the B2B Marketing and Sales Podcast. Boom!
Good Nailed it. Nailed it.
Behind the camera here.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
It's not an easy title. It's not an easy title.
I think we're up to almost like 40. Yeah. I think we're up to about 40 episodes now.
Oh yeah.
We're our listenership, viewers, whatever you call it.
It's the hockey stick now.
It's starting to kind of creep up a little bit faster.
Yep.
So we would love to see that hockey stick keep on going. I am Steve Miller, better known as Kelly's dad, marketing gunslinger, and not the rock star.
Nope.
Not the rock star. And I am joined, as always, by my contemporary compatriot cohort.
Yes.
How's that for alliteration?
Director of the redundancy department.
Redundancy. Is it redundancy or redundancy?
It's in a rotunda.
It's in the rotunda.
That's actually where the office is.
Yeah. And that's going to go right along with our discussion in a second about holistic. So, we are talking about David Mayo Loomis, Mr. Voice. Say hello, say good morning, whatever time it is where you are.
Sometimes they call me the Dave Loomis.
The Dave Loomis.
Right, as opposed to all the other Dave Loomises out there.
That's right, the Dave Loomis. You are to me.
There are a few.
There you are to me. So welcome,
sir. There's one that's into B2B marketing and sales.
That's right, and author.
True of Marketing is Everything We Do.
That's right.
Maybe we're a little biased.
We are tiny bit biased.
Yeah. Hey.
And speaking of bias, and speaking of marketing is everything that we do.
Great segue.
This is a nice segue because you know me, I have a high horse that I ride a lot. And that my high horse is, and of course, I don't know why I find this to be surprising. When I'm online and I'm on conversations online, whether it's in a social media and some type of group, private group, whether it's private group on Facebook or private group on LinkedIn, or just on conversations in LinkedIn or in general and things like that. It seems like there is just this crazy heavy bent towards digital marketing, online marketing as being the be all end all and especially in the B2B world, that you really should just put all your money into online marketing. It seems like that I see that so much, and I rarely see people who are marketers, whether they are marketers in companies, whether they are marketing consultants, or whether they are marketing agencies. I rarely see them talking very much or suggesting that people in the B2B world should use offline marketing, or as I guess they would say the good old days of marketing. Or something.
Yeah, in the old days, since before online, we didn't even have the term offline. We just called it marketing.
We just called it marketing. That's exactly right.
So,
Thank you.
Essentially what you're saying is that there's a lot of people that don't think we should do any of the marketing that happen to be in place for the last or 3,000 years.
Yeah, a million years. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe a million. Up until, what's a million years worth of experience and marketing and sales approaches and all that? No. Throw that out and let's just use, what's sort of been put together in the last, 2 decades.
Do you think that I am being overly sensitive to this, or do you think that I am being correct in my assumption?
I think that you're correct that there's a plethora of overexcitement about the digital marketing world.
Sorry, that was not to. That was not to.
Was that an online?
That was not like a
alert.
Hey.
Okay. So I mean, you're not wrong. People and some of it reminds me a little bit of the fact, like when the media just reports bad news because people consume it. Good news, that's not very exciting. That's right. Who's going to read that? Yes. So everything has to be a disaster, right? To get attention and people watch it and read it, and there have been new businesses are popping up with digital marketing. Probably too many of them. They're not all going to last, sure. And so they have to make a big deal and say, well, hey, look over here. Here we are.
Well, and they're also I've also found, which I just find this to be astounding. I've also found that a number of them, they really go out of their way to paint negative pictures about offline marketing. And saying stuff, like for trade shows is a great example of that. They regularly attack trade shows online in these, on LinkedIn and these places where they just go, trade shows just aren't worth it anymore. It's just not worth the money that you're spending anymore to go to these shows and get such little return for it. See, and what that, and there's a couple of things about that irritate me. Number one, because it's clear that they don't want you to spend money on trade shows because they want you to spend money with them, and they don't do trade shows.
Exactly.
All right. Exactly. They don't do trade shows.
So in a way, you don't really know what to believe because they have a self-interest in their argument.
High self-interest.
Yes.
High self-interest. And their arguments are extremely naive. The arguments are always, well, you're never going to get money, back from a trade show. That is so naive. That's, if we go back to our conversation, a couple of episodes ago where I talked about how to measure ROI. Well, I was talking, my thing about how to measure ROI had nothing to do with the tool, the marketing tool you use, whether it's online or offline.
Right.
It fit everything. So, anyway, so I get really bugged about that. And so I had suggested today, let's talk about this. Okay. The pluses and minuses of online versus offline. Are there reasons for B2B players, B2B marketers and companies, to pay attention to, offline? And if so, I've got some examples, for people, that work. Now, from your perspective, how do you think something like this needs to be looked at?
Well, I will probably sound like a broken record if you've heard my general logical thinking approach before, which is there's a business strategy for whatever business you're in. And I'm going to bring in one of your terms, a moose. Mm-hmm. There's a moose, there's a target market or markets. Not everything to all people, but there's targets. And then there's strategy. So there's a business strategy about where you want to take your business and who you're targeting. Then there's a marketing strategy, not tactics yet. But then who are those people you're trying to reach? Where are they? Where are they? What do they eat? What media do they consume? How is it most effective to reach them? And then the tactics fall from there.
Right.
And I would say almost all the time, the solutions that I'm most familiar with involve both online and offline tactics, but
absolutely,
but not
both sides,
but not 100% online. There may be some businesses out there that, hey, you're like an internet business and you don't do anything else, and you don't. I mean, I don't know. There are probably examples out there where it makes sense to, and we'd love to hear from you if you contact us. We'd love to hear. But I mean, almost everything that I come in contact with, it's both.
Yeah, you're saying don't put all your eggs in one basket.
I'm just saying, I don't even think about it as, is this tactic online or offline? I think about it as, how do I reach this person, these decision makers most effectively?
Yes. That to me is the big thing. It's, we often say, like, where do they hang out? Where do we find where it's very efficient to reach them? But also how effective it can be. And from an efficient, to effective, efficient, and easy. Okay. Can I reach somebody more easily through online versus offline? And I find both work just fine.
I will say that one thing that is kind of hard to debate these days is that buyers in B2B, as well as consumers, do their homework online and go to websites or to review sites or whatever, and they're a hell of a lot smarter going into a sales situation, a buying situation, than they were, 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago. So that part that's going to happen. And I don't think that's really what we're talking about. We're not saying, oh, don't do a website. Don't do that. That's going to happen, and we need to inform people. But how do you get people over the finish line if they have heard about you? Have you ever heard this term? This one cracks me up. It is, I see somebody like in a email, or they're trying to sell something, and they say, relationship selling is dead.
I have seen that, and
Do you believe that, Steve?
I never knew it was even on the critical list.
Because it's not.
I didn't know it was sick.
It's not. It's not.
It's not. No, of course not.
It's not. And when they were first espousing relationship selling, relationship stuff like that. Okay, that's like ABM. All right, it was always there. Well, we talked about a million years.
Yeah,
people have been coming in contact for thousands of years, and you buy from people you like, and you form a relationship, and you learn about the needs of the person that you're selling to, and you figure out how to.
So how you communicate with them. Now, see, I mean, obviously there's, like you say, there are givens in the digital world with the website, and you're going to use tools, and that are online tools and stuff. But then you also want to look at, are there offline tools that can help you maybe with that relationship even be a little bit stronger, messaging wise. Mm-hmm. I've got a great client who, before I started working with them, they 100% online stuff. I got them involved, and I said, look, do you have a list of your, say, top 100 prospects? And they said, well, yeah. I said, you got a name, you got an address of, maybe even a phone number of the top 100 people that you want to connect with. And they said, that are your moose, and you want to ultimately turn them into a customer. And they said yes. And I said, well, doesn't it make sense then for you to now start to use other tools besides like email? Because that's essentially all it is. Once you get somebody's name, they go on an email list, and email is powerful. But
Absolutely.
Email is the online version of direct mail.
Right.
Okay. And online, you are competing when you send out an email to your 100 people. First of all, you are competing with everybody else who is also sending all these emails. All right. Every day. All right.
Yeah.
But if you were to look at it from a perspective of, I can also communicate with them offline through direct mail. And there can be some really unique ways to do that.
Absolutely. Or you can just talk to them directly.
Yes.
If you get a chance to meet them at a direct sales call, at a conference, at a trade show, there's lots of opportunities to talk directly to people. I had a revelation once. I think you may know Joe Pulizzi,
Yes.
Content Marketing World, founder of Content Marketing World,
Right.
who I know. It started here in beautiful Cleveland, Ohio, before he sold it and expanded it and so forth, and it became quite a thing. And I did have this revelation, because when I say content marketing, I'm sure anybody who's listening right now thinks of online content.
Yes.
At first, and you think, oh, that means blogging or content that somebody, you're using keywords so that somebody sees it and then they get hooked by it, and maybe you gate it and get their email, and content marketing.
Right.
Well, I was shocked when I was talking to Joe, and then I went to the conference itself and learned that it was really just about the content, and that there were delivery mechanisms, and they included in content marketing meeting someone in person and giving them this content directly.
Mm-hmm.
That actually is also content marketing.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, well, that makes sense.
And when my dad, many years ago, would read an interesting article in a magazine, and he would tear that article out and photocopy it and mail a copy of it to his top customers and prospects.
Of course he would.
With a note that just said, "This is a really interesting article. I thought you would find it fascinating." Signed Ralph. And he would just mail it to them. That's content marketing.
Yes, it is. Is that online also, Steve?
Is it also online?
No,
Not
it's
to
not.
my dad, it wasn't.
It's offline. No, with your dad, it wasn't.
That's 100%.
That's content marketing.
It's direct mail.
Yeah, and it's offline. It's offline.
It's direct mail.
So we were saying before we got started that really both of us agreed that we in a holistic approach, right?
Right. Holistic.
Yeah, exactly. And then it dawned on me that holistic
it should be.
It's misspelled.
It's the whole. It's the whole.
It should start with a W.
Not the HOLE whole. It's the WHOLE.
Exactly. Somewhere along the line, they dropped the W. It should be holistic.
Yeah, it should be. It should be holistic. So because I'll tell you, if I can get 100 people on my list who I have their contact information, and then I can, maybe I'll send them some emails. But again, part of marketing is separating ourselves from the competition and making it easy for our prospects, our moose, to hear from us and want to continue to hear from us and want to start to continue a relationship with us. So I'm going to look for an opportunity. And if I can do something, if I can do it in a direct mail piece, where I can send somebody a letter that includes, maybe a copy of a book that I read recently.
Yeah.
And I said, this book is
know
fascinating.
People who've written books. Yeah. We even know people who've written books.
Yeah. Who've written books. Dr. Nito Cobain, president of High Point University, a tremendously successful business person, winner of the Horatio Alger Award. Have you ever been on that campus? Oh, I know Nito very well. I was with Nito when he made the decision to become president.
Oh my gosh!
And I was there. I was there the day he took over as president, and he announced his big plans. And I watched him turn that into Disneyland. And it is Disneyland. It's an absolutely incredible. If you want to learn something about marketing and creating the experience, the customer experience, creating the experience, and it's written about in my book Uncopyable. Also, there's a chapter on true. High Point University. Yeah, I can't remember. Nito did you bring up the steakhouse? Yes, of course. I talked about the steakhouse. I have been to the steakhouse. So have I. That's my favorite. That's my favorite part of the story. Is the steakhouse. Incredible. But before Nito took over that job, he used to tell me that he has his list of 100 of people that he communicates with on a regular basis who are his top customers and prospects, and every month he sends them a book. Every single month, and he finds authors and he buys books from them and then sends them out to these people, and it's his like book of the month club to his top customers, and they look forward to getting their book from Nito every single month. So that makes Nito top of mind, top of content, in their world. So see this stuff, and it works just fine, congruent with online marketing. Right, because this is the B2B Marketing and Sales Podcast, and that's right. That's right. These are interlinked in many ways, if not every way, and this is just good sales practice. Yes, so the bottom line to me is that there is a really smart marketing smart marketer and smart marketing company and business and things like that. Would that be a smarketer? That would make. Ooh, I like that. That's better than a portmanteau. Yeah. You usually don't like my portmanteaus, but my poor man toes. You don't like your poor man toes. Portmanteaus, but your smarketer. It just shows that you can take something, because online tends to be this very big thing. It's not personal. While you take offline marketing and you can make it very personal. You can make it very, very personal. We teach. Once we really identify really big, really big time moose, we turn. There's no stone unturned as far as then communicating with them, because we will invest in, shock and awe packages. I don't think we've even talked about shock and awe packages. We will invest in, sending greeting cards. We will invest in lumpy mail. I've got a client who invests in doing online webinars with top authors, interviews with top authors, but then follows up by sending the books of those top authors to the people who attended, the webinar. So it's you're putting all of this together. It's marketing. It's very It's not dumb marketing. It's not dumb marketing. Yeah. And marketing. It's marketing. Yeah. So I think that's really. I think that's. I have a question for you. Sure. Okay. Let's say you're somebody listening to what we just went through, and they're thinking, "Ooh, shoot, great point. I'm going to look at my marketing mix, and I need to figure out, am I too heavy on one or the other? I mean, how could it be correctly balanced holistically?
what would your advice to them be?
I don't really look at it as a balance.
Okay.
I look at it as, I just look at it like, see, in the B2B world, we're not talking about thousands of prospects, are we?
It depends. I mean, if you're a big multi-billion-dollar B2B company.
Okay, all right, yeah. If you're Salesforce or somebody like that, they would be going after thousands and thousands of people, and that's in the B2B world. Most people who are watching this are small B2B companies. Okay, most people. I don't mean just watching. I mean listening to this.
Yeah.
Most companies that you and I deal with, they're less than 100 million. They're less than 50 million. Okay, they're not giant companies. And so,
right. even if they have 1,000, even if they have, customers, a base in the thousands, there's still the 80-20 rule.
I was just going to say that. Yes.
Because honestly, there's there's a handful that are going to that are your best customers. They're carrying the company. They're your most profitable customers also.
Right.
What are you going to do with them? So you don't see it as a balance. What do you see it as?
I see it as a focus on the important. So let's use the 80-20 as an example. And to me, it's because, we define the 80-20 as being an example. 20% of our customers represent 80% of our income, our profits, all that stuff. Okay.
Correct.
But the 80-20 rule is fractal, which means you can dive in and you can pull out. So if you take that 20% now and you apply the 80-20 rule to that, 20% of that group represents 80% of that group's.
You just blew my mind.
Okay. So in other words, if I just start at the very beginning and I just say, okay, I've got 1,000 customers. In other words, 4%, 20% of 20%. The top 20% of the top 20%. That's 4%. So 4% of 1,000. That's 40. So you remember? I think we had the conversation where I talked about Emerson Electric going to a trade show.
Yep.
Where we defined their top 4% as being 50 companies.
Yep.
And we did a trade show where those 50 companies were the only people who were invited to see them at that trade show, because those 50 people represented, 96% of Emerson's annual revenues.
So if somebody is listening now and thinking, boy, I don't know if I have all this right, your advice to them is apply the 80-20 rule and make sure that you're for sure doing the right thing for the top 20% or the top 20% of the 20%.
That's right.
And you can do it again. Do the 20% of that 4%. And those are the people that you do your shock and awe with, and you can invest a lot in. You can justify a huge investment. Now, a long time ago, there was this, when I worked at Leo Burnett Advertising, there was this commercial for United Airlines. And you'll remember this, where the head of a company comes into a conference room and tells all his people around the table that they just lost their biggest customer. And, somebody says something like, oh, I guess it's time to cut back then. And he says no. And he hands them all a plane ticket.
That's right.
And says, nope, we're going to go out and we're going to visit our best customers.
That's right.
Right now, you're all leaving today.
And they asked, what are you doing? And he says, I'm going to go visit that old customer.
Uh-huh.
That was his closing line of that commercial. And that's exactly right. And that is called offline. Okay?
Yeah, it's in the air. It's in the air.
Offline.
It's in the air.
So there are lots of and what it does
over the airwaves,
and it gives you the opportunity to do something that none of your competition is doing, because the vast majority of your competition is paying attention to these idiots, these numbskulls. I'm sorry, online, these people online who are espousing that you have to spend all of your money digitally. All right, so you've got no competition.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, I've got clients who are, like I said, who used to be 100% online, and now and it's not like there's a split. It's not like there's a formula. It's just that they are using both now, and they are they have come out of COVID just killing the competition. They're just killing them. And if you want, you could get Kay's book.
Yeah,
Uncopyable Sales Secrets, and she's got stories in there about these clients.
She's got great stories
who have done this. So,
and we may be going into a recession. Of course, once you're in a recession, you're already on the way out of it because we might be in it now.
Yeah,
but that's the best time to invest and think through these things and to take care of your best customers.
Now, as we get ready to depart, I want to share with you a letter that I got yesterday.
Okay. I see it. He's holding it up, folks, for those of you listening.
Yeah, for those of you listening, I'm holding up this letter. Yep. This is from a company called Credit Karma.
Credit Karma. Is
Credit
Karma spelled with a K?
Karma? No, it's not.
Oh, credits with a C?
Credits with a C. Yeah. Credit Karma. Yeah.
That's good.
And they're a company that, they help you manage your credit.
Okay.
Pay attention to your credit.
Yeah.
And it's an online company, right? Digital company. CreditKarma.com.
And you got this in the mail?
And I got this letter in the mail, and I'm going to read to you the first paragraph.
Okay.
All right. Hi, Steve.
We're ready.
Hi, Steve. Letters aren't really our thing. They're too slow, too wasteful, and don't get us started on the paper cuts. But here's the deal. When it comes to finding a credit card, there's a better way than sorting through your junk mail. They are using direct mail.
Yeah, the irony. The irony.
I get this stuff all the time. From companies that are online
companies. It's not going away.
Offline.
So
Google does it. Amazon does it.
We're in a game of differentiation and breaking through the clutter.
That's right. Breaking through the clutter. Direct mail is a great way to break through the clutter.
It is now. It wasn't a long time ago, but it is now.
Especially now.
That's another thing for you all to think about is how can you break through the clutter? What are your competitors doing? And don't do that.
And if you want some very specific suggestions, if you want some very, very specific suggestions, okay, my smoking hot wife Kay has put together a content marketing piece. It's a piece.
Bonus content.
Reach out to me. Reach out to us via this, and I can arrange for you to get a copy of this piece. It has 5, actually, she calls it 5 proven secrets, for, I don't know, for something. And, but it's actually like 7 proven secrets. So
7, 2
every
extra
single one of
secrets.
them, every single one of them is a tool that you can use right now. So reach out to us here at the podcast.
So be holistic, people.
Yes. WHOLISTIC.
We'll use all the tools in our toolbox. Break through the clutter. Differentiate.
Take us out of here.
You have all been listening to the B2B Marketing and Sales Podcast with the Dave Loomis and Steve Miller, not the rock star. Also known as Kelly's dad, all these other things. He has so many.
Captain Adventure. You just found out about Captain Adventure this week.
And he used to be called Captain Adventure when he was a stunt man. What hasn't this man done?
Enough. He's done enough. Right.
Great to have you again, and we look forward to next time. Tell all your friends and associates about us, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the one and only B2B Marketing and Sales Podcast, the source for B2B marketing and sales insight. If If you enjoyed the podcast, please be sure to subscribe and leave these old guys a 5-star rating. Check the show notes for any links and contact information. You can always contact us by going to B2B Marketing Sales Podcast.com. Thank you, and keep on marketing. Keep on selling.